As of midnight Tuesday morning, indoor capacity limits have been lifted and vaccine passports are no longer required by the province. We check in now with Dr. Mustafa Hirji, Niagara's Acting Medical Officer of Health. Dr. Hirji, what does this all mean for Niagara?
We've been through 2 years where we've had a lot of restrictions in society to help control COVID-19. We haven't completely defeated the virus. We're certainly on a better trajectory as of the moment. And I think the province is trying to step away from these requirements and really put a lot more onus on us as individuals and us as people who run organizations to take the precautions and see if we're able to keep things under control without those government restrictions. And so I think the key message for all of us is to remember that there's still risk of COVID out there. There's actually quite a lot of virus still circulating out there.
With these requirements lifted, is it going to be more difficult to convince people who have not got the vaccine yet to do so?
I think the people who are easy to convince to get the vaccine, of course, are the ones who've already got the vaccine. So, of course, the group we have left are the ones who are going to be more difficult to convince. And I think as the province moves away from requiring proofs of vaccination, that takes away one of the incentives that might have been out there. That being said, we've known the proof of vaccination was going away for a while, and every day we are convincing more people to get vaccinated, both with booster doses, but even new first doses and second doses every day. It's not huge numbers, but every day we're managing to convince a few, and hopefully we'll continue to make progress. And I really encourage everybody to be mindful that without those limitations on social gatherings and without all the measures that are being practiced in organizations, there's much less protecting us. And so that vaccine is more important than ever than to protect us. So now would be a really good time to get that vaccine.
Prior to March 1st, locally, there were a lot of people speculating on whether or not you would continue to impose the Section 22 requirements locally. You decided this week to lift those requirements as well. What was behind that decision?
Our local measures have always been conceived of their complements to what the province was doing. The province puts in, broad-based measures, but there's certain gaps in there. There's certain elements where we see, additional risk, and so we need to customize it a little bit or address a gap that might exist to deal with what we're seeing in terms of Niagara. When the province took away really most of those measures, it really meant that there wasn't a complement for what we're doing, and so our measures wouldn't be nearly as effective.
Masks are still required in indoor facilities, but not outdoors. Do you recommend that people maybe walking on a crowded street on a Saturday doing some shopping wear the masks outside?
Yes, I would do that. And I think this goes back to what I was speaking about earlier about there's a lot more onus on us to make, the good decisions on our part about reducing our risk and those around us.
With spring and warmer temperatures on the way just around the corner, it should be a little bit easier to accept some of these lifting of requirements, don't you think?
Yeah, I think we had a good track record in both of our past two summers where we unfortunately, started off those summers within waves, but as we got out of those waves, we lifted the measures. We were really able to actually open everything up without seeing a big surge of infection. So I am quite optimistic that our summer will be pretty good. I am more concerned about really probably the next 6 weeks where it's not quite warm enough that we're going to be outdoors and, living most of our lives outdoors. A lot of us are still going to be in work or school. We're not going to be on vacations. And there's going to be, therefore, a lot of us indoor places. And so there is going to be a risk, I think, in the coming weeks that we could see a resurgence of the virus, especially as everybody gets back to a lot of their usual social activities starting as of yesterday with the measures lifted. So I think the next 6 weeks are really critical for us to be very mindful about being cautious. Of course, partaking in the amenities that are now fully open to use, but being cautious and careful about it and making sure, of course, we keep wearing those masks and we keep getting those vaccines to make sure we maximize our protection.